So this is a call out to the next generations. Look, you guys are going to be on this planet. We'll be gone. My generation will be gone. You guys were going to have to clean up this mess. You guys are going to have to look after, having enough oxygen, having enough food to eat. All those things are going to be a huge issue in the next generation. If the next generation doesn't put up a fight, and it seems like the next generation has absolutely no connection to nature anymore. And I think that's the big problem, is we've lost a generation that has never really got their hands dirty, or they've never really grown their own food, and it's going to get worse. And all these government officials that are going to be elected in 50 years have never gotten their hands dirty. They don't know what it means to have plant material covering the earth's surface. Saving nature requires experience. You need to understand the mechanisms of what it means to have bare dirt, what it means to have fertilized your soils to death. All those things there's a requirement to have gone through those motions. And all these people with the knowledge are sort of fading into the background, and they're not yelling and screaming anymore because they've probably given up. I'm not sure what the motivation is, but it's pretty tough to compete with governments and corporations. Yeah, I would love to know if somebody could tell me why this environmental movement has come to a halt. There's so little activity left on this planet, and everyone's allowed to use their free will to just destroy whatever they want. This idea of property ownership has really caused a lot of problems. The moment people own a property, the first thing they do is they chop everything down. There's this real idea that it's my land, I can do what I want. But you know what? That's not going to help the collective, or the collective environment. It's going to be a very, very tough next 50 years. And, is technology going to save us from environmental destruction? Possibly. You have to have some faith in scientists and biologists and whoever is making new products and concepts to grow more food, better food, diverse food, whatever it may be. If there's a profit available, people will work in that field. What is that doing to us as human beings eating this type of food? I'm not sure. It's going to be very tough on our system not having something that's grown in the ground the correct way, the natural way, the healthy way. So we've got a big problem ahead of us that we need to work out. The next generation really has to step up to the plate. They have to start, questioning all these activities that are going on, protesting maybe. I'm not sure what is all involved in getting, the next generation involved. They have the platforms, they have the social media there that they can start screaming at. And these corporations have to start thinking, well, maybe we're not doing the right thing. When the governments are saying, well, maybe we shouldn't sell this forest off to a Chinese company, or, there's got to be some change in attitude towards, like, how do we protect what is the most, what is valuable to us? And if that doesn't happen soon, I think this idea of relying on nature to replenish our planet is not going to work anymore. We need to help. We need to step in. We need to stop, like cutting down forests that already have this connectivity built into it. All those things are so hard to replace. It's better to not cut things down and to plan, different methods of how we get our resources and all those things. But it has to be in such a way that nature takes the front seat, not the back seat. Yeah, it's really interesting to me. I've noticed this massive switch or massive change in public opinion, how we perceive nature. There's something going on where nature has absolutely taken the back seat. I have never seen human behavior so aggressive as we have it right now. People are cutting down trees. Government agencies are cutting down trees. Anytime nature turns out to be a nuisance, everything gets eliminated, chopped down, pruned, trimmed. It is so aggressive that it is almost undescribable. And it doesn't matter what country you live in, there were always people that would stand up for nature. There was always people that would make sure that the governments don't have such an easy job tearing down everything. But that's changed. I don't see that anymore. We had the electrical company come in our valley and they decimated all the trees. I asked them and I tried to stop them. I said, "Why are you doing this?" "Oh, well, if we don't cut these trees down, they're going to fall on the electrical lines." Most of the trees were nowhere near electrical lines, but they still cut them all down. That is the collective consciousness right now, is this idea that social media is more important and personal wealth is more important. All these things are pushing nature and trees and the environment to the back burner. And it's very interesting how just in a short period of time, nature has no importance anymore. It is, the governments don't really care. They just want to mine. They want to get the forest industry working again. Everyone is doing this destructive force against nature, which is really a step backward for what we need to do to keep this planet healthy. So there is really this, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, it's for me, it's actually not understandable. It's completely out of everyone's view. I don't hear people fighting anymore for it. There's very little of that. We're sort of folding over so that, the companies, these corporations can do whatever they want. The government will allow them. The government does whatever they want. And it's this real idea of nature not being important anymore. Climate change and global warming and all these topics are less important right now. There's some other materialistic element to our life right now. And that idea of profits being more important than nature has taken the real front line of what we're dealing with in this world. Yeah, humans are really lucky. Nature has this incredible desire to repair itself, to heal the planet, to start growing again, to start flourishing, to start creating this circle of life, the connectivity, all those things. And that's all based on the energy that is built into nature. But humans still come around and they want to benefit from nature. They want to take the technology out of nature. They want to destroy nature, harvest nature, use nature for their benefit. And nature has a limit. And that limit is a built-in mechanism where this regenerative process can't handle the pressure humans put on nature to heal itself. So instead of abusing nature, there has to be a real movement towards helping nature. And this idea of, what can I get out of nature? How far can I push the limit on nature? How can I get everything that I want out of nature before I have to start thinking about replenishing what I've taken out? And it seems right now that there's this real movement towards not worrying about nature, not having any form of responsibility towards nature. It's this take, 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 take until you can't take anymore mentality that is very, very dangerous. This idea of working with nature is a very interesting concept, because if we actually help nature along, there would be more wood products. There would be more food for us to eat. There would be so many things that would help us out a lot more than this destructive energy we're applying. We have a real misunderstanding how delicate nature is. If we're cutting down all these trees and it doesn't really affect us how we're doing this, or we don't even think about it twice, or we don't even think about the future generations, we've got some real mental problems that we have to get over, because Without nature, we don't exist. Without, trees and plants creating oxygen, we don't exist. Without stuff covering the Earth's surface with green matter, we're going to overheat. Everything is going towards this movement where we have forgotten what we used to fight for. We've forgotten what is important. We have forgotten that we need to protect everything that is covering the earth, everything that lives on this planet. And it's a really strange behavior. I'm not sure if social media is responsible for this, that we're not really paying attention to the environment. I don't know if it's a general consensus that nature is not that important anymore. I'm not sure if people that are experiencing this extreme weather that they associate it with the destruction of rainforest or the destruction of forest or meadows or whatever it is. There must be some shift that has happened, living off the land and being healthy and having less stress. That is the future of what really matters. And I'm not sure how you get that switch to happen, that people understand that their life focus is going in the wrong direction and that the governments are doing things that are allowing this mass destruction that's going on the planet. And it's interesting. There's going to be a tipping point, and that tipping point might be our savior. That tipping point might make people say, well, you know what, we can't do this anymore. We've destroyed so much. And my worry is, how do you bring that all back together? How do you get those ecosystems working again? How do you get these trees growing again? How do you get this connectivity of all life working in such a way that we can stay healthy as a species? It is very complicated to repair something. It's a lot more work to repair a forest than it is not to cut it down in the first place. And I don't know where the young generation is. Where are these young kids that used to fight for the environment? And I don't see any of that anymore. There's so little of that. So there's definitely a massive change that has gone on in this period where social media is so aggressive and so overpowering, making us not understand that nature is everything. Without nature, we are nothing. And this idea of, a huge house and a brand new car and all these things that are so important to look good on social media, in the end, are absolutely irrelevant.